So hi, I'm Jeff Leisawitz from brownpapertickets.com. I'm also the author of Not Effing Around, the no bullshit guide to getting your creative dreams off the ground. I love talking to creative people. Shyan Selah, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Glad to be a part of the movement.
The movement, let's
Not
move
effing
it.
around, baby.
Okay, cool. So tell me, sort of, what do you do creatively? Who are you? What's your thing?
Creatively, I do a lot of things. Actually, first and foremost, I'm a singer, songwriter, producer. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I'm a big time believer in just being inspired and spreading inspiration everywhere I go.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So, what do you love about this? What do you love about what you do?
I think what I love about it most is that it's always a challenge. Like my nature is, just as long as I've been alive, I love a good challenge. And every day that you're involved with something that your passion is at the forefront of, there's always a challenge. There's always a hurdle you got to get over. There's always something you got to think around and move about and adapt to. And so I think the challenge is most attractive to me. But at the end of the day, it's just conquering. I love to conquer. I love to win. And in this way, sometimes even when you lose, you still win because you're always learning, you're always improving. So,
absolutely. So a win, a success. What is success to you in terms of your creative missions and what you're doing?
Well, success to me is really simple. It's anytime you have an opportunity to do what you love. Anytime you get an opportunity to do what you love, you're in a successful position for yourself. From that opportunity, all kinds of things can happen. Heaven can open its gates or all hell could break loose. But as long as you got an opportunity to stay in the flow of what it is that you love to do, you are achieving success. Now, your goals, that's a different thing. And hopefully you can, accomplish them along the way. And I've just been fortunate enough to gain a few here and there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, cool. So in terms of success, what have you learned from reaching your goals, from going from where you are to where you want to be?
I think one of the biggest things I've learned about that aspect of success is that you're never really quite finished. Like there's something about human nature that, even when you get there or you think you're there, there's another there that, just happens to naturally come about. And so, I think having the ability to part ways when you get to certain levels, say, okay, I got there. Now it's time to say goodbye to that and move on to this next thing. I think any champion, anybody who's ever won a game or won at anything, can tell you, the reward ceremony is short lived. It's all about the journey to it. No matter what that is, it's just staying on point with the journey.
There's always another game.
Always. Yes, sir.
The games keep coming. Life is big, right? Don't stop at one.
That's right.
Okay, so you're a guy who gets stuff done, right? So I'm wondering, do you have any strategies, specific strategies to maybe lists or priorities? How do you figure out what you're going to do and then do it?
I think one key thing for me is that everything starts the night before. Everything starts the night before. So you have to be good at carving out some time, even when you're crazy tired, even when it's ridiculously late, nobody else is awake with you. You got to find time to paint the picture for the next day and make sure that your action items are that they're on point. And so for me, that's a big, big thing. In that, I'm a little crazy with it, big spirit guy. So that's meditating, that's thinking, that's praying, that's all kinds of stuff for me. But you got to find that 5, 10, 15 minutes where you can, kind of get your finger on the next day.
Sweet. That's great. Very good advice. So, I'm a big spirit guy too, and it's part of my NFA philosophy anyway. So tell me about meditation. What does that do for you, and how do you do it?
My goodness, that meditation's a journey in itself. For those of us that know the spirit world, it's one of those places that there's always another there also. When I first got started, what I realized about meditation was that I thought I knew what it was. But it wasn't until I got in it that I realized there's a lot of different components. And essentially it just comes down to simplifying the mind, clearing yourself out, finding your focus after you're cleared, and then getting real specific and dialed in there visually, without saying anything, without forcing anything, just kind of allowing that vision and that picture to build. Once I got good at doing that, I started seeing kind of the wild style of nature, where nature has this construct within itself that it wants to give you how you're painting it. Like it feeds you back what you're kind of delivering into it when you go into that meditative state. And so I found a rhythm with that. And a lot of that would go on, in my night before planning. And now I learned how to, bring meditation into the day, the morning, midday. I love it. I think there's a way that you can send a signal from your spirit all day long once you get to a certain space in that rhythm. So that's where I'm at right now.
I'm going to say hell yeah to that. Nice one. Cool. So I'm wondering, is there a component of visualization in your meditation? Do you visualize the outcomes that you want in the world?
Yeah, I absolutely do. What I try to find is the feeling. I know it, we all kind of know what we want. I think we forget that we can find we can build it, we can construct it by detailing it, but more importantly, placing ourselves in that actual space and doing so in a way where we start to feel what it feels. You got to feel the trophy, man. You got to feel the check. You got to feel that, that destination or that goal point. And you got to kind of be crazy enough to act that out and allow the body to kind of get there with you. And then you pour in all the details and the specifics and stuff like that. But I think that's probably one of the more overlooked aspects of meditation, is that it is a mind-body experience. It's not just a mind experience.
Sweet. Good deal, man. You're clued in. You got
Yes, sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
What are you talking about? Okay. So let's talk about opportunities. Do you look for opportunities? Do opportunities come to you? Do you create opportunities? What's your relationship with opportunity?
I used to look for them. And then I kind of figured out opportunity is kind of like a beautiful woman. It's like, you can't really just go hunt her down. There's something about the presence and the essence that you got to get a familiarity with. And opportunity is such that you have to feel like it does. So it's kind of like you have to get yourself to a space where you're an opportunity also. Not just the opportunity is an opportunity. And I believe that starts with honing in on your skills, practicing, becoming really, really efficient at whatever your skill or talent is. And then the doors kind of start to open, because like anything in life, especially with music, once you dial into a rhythm and you lock in, things happen from there where you can start to improvise. It's the same thing with life. Once you get that rhythm and you're good at what you do and you're fixed on the fact that, man, I'm good at this, life starts to say, yes, I know you are. So here's another opportunity to continue to be good, So that's the modality I try to live in. I think opportunities are very impressionable. You can kind of create them if you get a feel for who you are.
Absolutely. Very good. Cool. Okay, so we've talked a lot about success so far. I want to talk about failure. Have you succeeded in every goal you've ever set?
Oh, hell no. Have I succeeded in every goal that I've ever... Man, that's just crazy to fathom. I don't even know if I'd be worth the interview if I did.
Yeah.
Because, I think the thing about failure is that it somehow causes people to think there's some sense of unworthiness about it. Like, nah, man, I have completely effed up. Talk about not effing around. I have effed up. And what you get in that is when you start to study the failure. Now, I'm an old athlete, and I never knew. I didn't make the equation coming out of athletics into music that when you mess up as an entrepreneur, you're supposed to study it. You're supposed to learn from it, gain from it, and see what else you could have done in those moments, and you practice your way through. But I think a lot of people shun it because, it can be painful and you can lose. But the deal is to get back up, to get back in the game, and to continue playing. So failure is a beautiful part of the process once you become kind of understanding of what it does for you.
Yeah, totally. So when you hit a big failure, what is your internal process that helps you push forward and push through that? Because some people, they hit a failure, bam, they get clobbered, they stop, they turn around, they don't move forward.
My advice and hitting a failure and hitting that rock bottom level stuff is live with it. Like really allow it to emotionalize, and it's kind of like you got to allow yourself to feel that letdown, so that just that measure, and so that when you're preparing to move on from it, you know the degrees in which you can play and what you're able to do and what you're able to not do. But the thing you don't want to do is let failure become a fear, because then you stop trying, and you stop trying to the degree that your talents actually suggest you should, and a lot of dreams get cut off that way. So you got to live with it, you got to emotionalize it, work your way through, but then you got to get cerebral and logical really quick, and that means you got to get to solutions, and you got to get to fixing and patching things up. And once you get there and you understand that that's how you treat it, it works itself out.
That's great. You got a plan.
I've messed up a lot.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the comfort zone. Do you like the comfort zone? Stay in it? Push out of it? What's your relationship with the comfort zone?
The comfort zone to me is tricky, because I don't really feel comfortable being comfortable. Not in the kind of business that I'm in. And so that's scary. It's kind of like, a traveler travels. And if you're not traveling, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. A promoter promotes if you're not promoting. So sometimes in that space, I think people think that money becomes the success factor that allows them to chill and relax. And it's not. Money should be the indicator that makes you more of what you already are. So I think success is indicative of that one factor, that you don't let up. What got you there is what's going to keep you there. And as long as that's an ethic for you, you'll maintain. But the comfort zone can be a little scary. Sometimes for us, it's because we're not feeling creative, and maybe we don't got anything to produce in the moment, and that's always good, because that's just a sign for us to go live and be crazy and do life a little bit and figure it out, and then go talk about it or write about it or create from it. But try to stay away from being comfortable and a little too relaxed. I think I heard Howard Schultz say one time that that's one of the successes with Starbucks. The philosophy is we understand our coffee's discretionary, so we don't let up. You're never satisfied with where it's at. You grow and you grow and you grow. And once you kind of patch in there, that, again, like everything else, becomes your rhythm.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. So in the creative path, people experience all kinds of resistance, sometimes from parents, peers, society. Could be anything, anywhere. Have you had that, and what do you do with that?
Yes, I've definitely met resistance. I've come up with a philosophy for myself that I kind of teach amongst my network, and that is the push-up is supposed to burn. The push-up is supposed to burn, or you're not getting in shape. It's that simple. If what you're doing is not pushing the envelope, and you're trying to express what that passion or that purpose is to people who aren't envelope pushers or aren't doing push-ups themselves, then something may be not totally right in that moment. Yes, you want your mentors that have been there, you want your supporters that have been there, but it's a good sign when people aren't feeling it, because they probably shouldn't. If it's something that's hard to do, you're not going to have very many people around you that know what it entails. So you get comfortable with it, and from it you learn your defense. You learn to stick up for yourself. You learn to realize whether or not you really believe in what it is you're trying to do anyways. Those are your first tests. Those are your first games, or with family and friends and all your non-believers and haters or whatever. Get used to them, man. Get used to them, because they help set the path and build you up and give you the strength that you need to get out there and get successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So you talked a little bit in there about mentors. Mm-hmm. Have you had mentors? What's the value of a good mentor?
Mentorship, you can't, there's things in life that when it comes to your purpose, you can't cut a check for. I don't care who you are. You can have Warren Buffett, Oprah, and one of the Sultan's money in your back pocket, and it's just not enough. Mentorship is priceless because it's wisdom. It's wisdom based, and I've had tons of them. And through the course of my journey, I've been fortunate enough to have them pass on what I call my dream mentors, which some of which aren't even alive anymore. Great people like Napoleon Hill and Neville Goddard. And I've listened and learned from so many great minds that have promoted success and the ideology of living your passion and your purpose. That I can't stress enough to find your mentors. And if you don't know who they are yet, if they're not like available at your school or someone you kind of can model things after that's nearby or close to you or in your network, then you find the greatest ones that have ever lived and you study. And you look at their practicalities, you look at their philosophies, and you find a way to integrate some of those techniques and tactics into your own life.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys, some of those guys know,
Oh
know
man,
what they're talking
man,
about.
not effing around, baby. Yeah, they went hard, man.
Boy, hell, not effing around 100 years ago. Jeez, okay. By the way, there's a catalog of CDs out there called something like the top 50 success classics of all time.
Interesting.
It's abridged versions of the 50 best books.
Oh, you're kidding.
Listen to those things and you'll be like, rocket.
Okay, I gotta get that. I'm mad that I don't know about that. But thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so art, creativity, it has a sense of healing to it. Can you talk to me about the healing properties of creativity?
I think healing and creativity, well, they're hand in hand for those of us that have creative juice within us. And without veering the subject, I think we all have creativity within us. Whether or not it's fostered somewhere along the way, you never know how it's going to go. But I think the healing part of it is more of like just connecting with the nature of who you really are. And it's kind of like saying, I've heard nutritionists and health enthusiasts say, well, one of the first things you can do to heal your body is just stop polluting it. Just stop doing everything harmful to it now, like immediately. And I think that's the same thing, the same truth is there emotionally for us, right? Psychologically, within our friendship networks, within business. Stop doing all the things that pollute you. So you can kind of get that harmonic environment. But creativity is one of those things that shatters through all of it. It like immediately, because it's like the real you. It's like if there was a you that's a superhero, it's in your creative space. Like that guy and that gal and their personality, they can't be stopped. If you let them get in their flow, whether they're painting, whether they're writing, performing, or whatever, that's supernatural self right there, man. It definitely heals because you get the oneness of your truth.
That's a hell of a quote.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying it. That's all good. Okay, so how has art or creativity, music healed you personally?
Wow. It's a tough question because healing for me means a lot of things, takes on lots of different forms of definition. And I think that it's freed me. I think the highest level of healing I've gotten from my creativity is freedom. That through the freedom to express and kind of study what I put out there is, because you know how it is, you're an artist, right? So anybody that does art of any form, when you drop your expression out there and you kind of step back and then objectify it a little bit, you say, wow, I knew I was feeling that way in the moment, but it's kind of deep what comes from you is what I'm trying to say. And I think that freedom to know that, man, that's me. That's how I really feel. That's how I think. That was spontaneous and that was out of my instincts. There was nothing coached from that tone or that expression. Is a powerful thing to get used to. So I think that's the number one benefit that I've gotten from the creative world is freedom. Freedom to be me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you ever have doubts about what you're doing, your value as a person or as an artist, and what do you do with that when that comes up?
I used to. I've learned to channel those things because for me doubt, doubt comes from a fear zone, and it's a wiry little weird intelligence that tries to get you to not, do things. And so for me, I try to, through meditation, play with that. Why do I have it at all? Why do I have it in the first place? And fortunately, I had an athletic background where you practice your way out of fear and unknowingness or what have you. So I just started to adopt the same thing I would do as an athlete. And my practice went from the physical practice to the mental practice. That that moment at night, right? You envision what you do, and you envision yourself doing it well. And then you go out and you do the physical practice. And you work with doubt and you work with fear for what it's there for, because there's a deep truth to it. If you don't look at it like it's an opposition, it's almost like a guide that says, come on, man, you're not ready for this. I think the first thing you can do with doubt is challenge it and test it and say, okay, let me practice more, let me work more, let me practice more, let me work more, and get into a rhythm of working on your craft that eliminates it, but always putting yourself in a position where you got to perform it or express it. So I just learned to deal with it. Doubt, like fear, you never really totally get rid of. You learn to cope and deal and challenge and test it and make it something resourceful for you.
Sweet. Absolutely. That's great. Cool. So compared to other jobs or vocations in the world, being an accountant, being something like this, being an artist can be a difficult trip. You gotta work hard, you gotta feel it, you got all kinds of rejection coming at you. Why in the world would or should anybody do that?
I really don't know why anybody would ever want to do art and try to make it like the thing that makes how you make a living from it.
Okay, so let me switch it around. How about you? Why are you doing it?
I'm just crazy enough. I just, when I say crazy, I mean I believe myself enough. I have enough courage and bravery. I don't know if I would necessarily be good at much else, because I don't like boredom. I'm scared to death of being bored. I'm scared to death of a robotic life like that. I just, no way. So art was appealing to me. Like I said, initially, I'm the guy that thrives off challenge, thrives off of, making something from nothing, being creative even within the space that seems to be kind of mundane. So I wouldn't go into accounting like an accountant would. I'd go into it like an artist would. There's some kind of art, there's some form here that's amazing, that's going to have me here at my desk every day just bugging out on this methodology. And so that's how I became I guess a decent entrepreneur. Was I had to learn how to put those right and left brain things together and say, no, there's some kind of art here. There's something here. There's an intangible that's exciting and different and a weird kind of science, and things can work and things can explode on you and all this stuff is going on. And as long as you kind of get a feel for that, like it ends up being effective on a certain level. It's never perfected. So for me, that's kind of how I've, learned to deal with using art as like my lifestyle is how I make my living. And from it, I was able to be entrepreneurial and create business and create a pathway and do those kind of things.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so you are talking to the musicians, the rappers, the actors, the photographers, anybody out there who's got a dream, who's sort of sitting in their bedroom doing their thing, wants to get out there and get on that stage, whatever that may mean. Can you give me Shyan's NFA bullet points? What can they do to get from where they are to where they want to be?
Number one, practice your ass off. Practice, 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 practice. Find a way to practice at all costs, every day, until someone qualified, and I mean this, and this should be bullet 2, till someone qualified says, you got it. You can't be the qualifier. You're not the one that can say, I'm the one. Someone who's already been a one has to be the one to say, I like that. When I was coming up, you had to showcase, you had to audition. Before you get to auditions and showcases, you had to practice. But it was through those showcases and those auditions where you start winning, where people who already had deals or people who were already in positions of influence started saying, oh, he's got it. He's got something. That's your qualifier there. The next thing is you got to get qualified people to play certain roles. You got to appeal to them. The talent alone is not it. Other people are talented in these other aspects. Publicity, management, lawyers, tour bus drivers, whatever, your guitar coach. You want to get good people around you that are not just yes people. People that will challenge you a little bit to try to, get the best out of you, but they themselves will perform their ass off for what the goal is with you. I think all of that stirred up creates like a successful thing. And then all of you got to go play the game. But that's how you form a team. You look at what success does already and you model it. So if your thing is the Seahawks, Pete Carroll's the coach. What kind of a personality is that? What kind of guy is that? Who's the GM? Look at the front office. Look at ownership. What is that philosophy that's driving them? And then why are they selecting these kind of players, these personalities around them? A guy like Richard Sherman or a Beast Mode or whatever. So all this collective comes together, and now you got a team. Well, every superstar, every creative person, or every person that's trying to become something, you got to create your Seahawks. You got to put your team together. But you have to be a Beast Mode or a Chancellor or somebody who's worth it all. So practicing, getting your skills there is the first step. The rest fundamentally should kind of domino down if you do that.
Awesome. That is great. What a great answer. And what a ton of great answers. Thank you, man. That was a fantastic interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.